Hey, this is John Hardison of East Hall High School, Studio 113, and Epic Academy in Gainesville, Georgia. I want to talk to you just a little bit about a project we did with Widbook, and I hope you get some ideas about how you could use Widbook. So let me take a look at our first part of our agenda. I wanted to just do an introduction, and again, we will be looking at widbook.com. And I want to let you know, if you want to look at the article that discusses what I'm going to talk about in this little webinar here, you can go to this shortened link right here, and I will actually take you to the original blog post on gettingsmart.com, and here it is. May not look like much, but you'll see a lot of links that are available that will take you to the documents that I'm going to discuss, and it should be very thorough. And of course, at the very end, it should take you to our actual product, which I will show you here shortly. And I'd like to encourage you, if you ever get any more time, you want to look at a number of blog posts that talk about technology and interactive structures in a creative classroom, go to gettingsmart.com and search for my name, John Hardison, right there, and you'll come up to my blog site on gettingsmart.com, and I have now 50 blog posts that you can take a look at. So please visit there and get some ideas and share some of your comments and share some of your ideas with me. I would appreciate that. All right, let's go back to our introduction here. I wanted to also let you know that I would love for you to connect with me on Twitter at JohnHardison1, and you can also use the hashtags Widcation and EdTech, or of course EdChat. So please find me on Twitter, and this is what you'll be looking for at John Hardison1. Now let's get started with our project here that we did. Excuse me, go back here. So the first thing I want to do is take you through a project that we were putting together for, or in conjunction with, Washington Irving's romantic short story, The Devil and Tom Walker. So in our American literature class, we were needing our students to actually study this short story and to really dive in and to study it in depth. So we put together a pretty good plan, and I say we, I'm talking about my colleagues and I, and then we did this in Studio 113. So let me downsize just a second as we go through these steps here. First thing I want to do is I want to show you our actual assignment. Now, I know you don't want to sit here and read this, so I'm just going to go through and kind of summarize and skim it very quickly. This part right here that I'm highlighting, this part right here is just going to talk about how they access this in Google Drive. The short story was shared in Google Drive, and then I put all of the students in teams of 3 to 4, and within their teams of 3 to 4, they were to take their copy of this short story by Washington Irving, and they were to share it with their teammates, and then as they were reading it, they could take side notes in Google Drive, and they could collaborate and be creative within that document. Now, if you go on down and look, the main thing I wanted them to do was I wanted them to read the entire short story by really trying to dive in and interact with the text and look up words and really have this dialogue via Google Drive, and of course verbally as they were within their teams. But ultimately they had to cover all of this, and I don't want to read to you, but as you look down through here, anything from diction all the way through symbolism. So it covered an entire list of literary terms that these students should be looking at and becoming masters of. And I even added in a soundtrack. I wanted them to think about a song that related to their particular scene or their particular section of the short story. And as I go down through here, I wanted to let you know that they were also supposed to talk about the overall theme of Washington Irving's short story, and they were supposedly going to relate it to maybe a current event. So this was pretty interesting and pretty demanding. The thing that is very, very neat about it, I guess, is we took the entire class and we divided up the short story, a certain section for each team. So as I show you the actual short story right here, you'll understand what I'm talking about. As I scan down through the first part, you'll see eventually we got to section 1 right here. Section 1 would obviously go to section or team 1, and then as you can see, team 2 or section 2 goes to team 2. So even though the teams read the entire short story, I only assigned a smaller section per team of 3 to 4 so that they could really dive in to the ultimate level with every single word, every single sentence of that particular section. They're looking for, again, the symbolism, the figurative language, the theme, looking for a soundtrack, and of course, ultimately, as I'm going to show you in just a minute, they're going to be looking for how they reenact this scene out and record it on video. You may have noticed that this first part was not sectioned off, and that was because I modeled with the class exactly what I expected them to do. So we shared this document. I had students writing out to the right as we were discussing this and interacting with the text. And then of course when we got down to section 1, I turned them loose and students were to read the entire thing again, and then when they got to their section they were to interact with that as a team and cover all of the assigned literary terms as you see here. Now part 2, as I scroll down to part 2, I'm just skimming this real quickly. Part 2, they were simply going to create a symbolic picture that represents their assigned section of The Devil and Tom Walker. Then they were to look at that section from a very detailed slant, and they were supposed to reenact that somewhere on our campus. They could make their own props. They could use a section of our campus that they think applied, whether symbolically or realistically, and then they were to record that, and that video was given to me, and of course I uploaded it to YouTube. Now we can talk about some of the tech issues here in just a little bit, but I do want to say that I used just one Widbook account, and I had the students give me their team's videos, and then I uploaded it to our school YouTube account. And obviously I wanted a little bit of control with that, and I didn't want to open up Widbook to a bunch of students collaborating at one time when it was my first project. So hopefully that kind of clears a few things up. I even showed the students how part 1, which is just the analysis of their sections, is supposed to look. Because remember, when they are assigned a certain section, for example, right here, Team 1 has this entire section right here. After this Team 1 has read the entire short story, they should go back and revisit this and make sure that they are picking apart every single word. And then a team leader from Team 1 can create a Google Drive document that all team members share, and they will go in and tackle this as a team. And of course I just gave one example right here for diction, showing them how they are to analyze this and to compile a team sheet. And then they would go on to part 2, which again is the picture that is symbolic and the video that reenacts their assigned section. Now let's jump on in to Widbook. I hope I haven't bored you. I just wanted to let you know the lesson plan behind what we are doing. I think so many times today we go to technology as a toy instead of technology as a tool. So I was looking at what I wanted the students to learn, and then to see if there were, or if there was, a tech tool out there that would help us. So here we are. As you can see, this is the cover. These are 2 of my actual students, and I'm going to go ahead and click on this book and dive right in. And give it just a second to load. As it's loaded, I'm going to look at the pages that I actually wanted to discuss. There they are. I hope I can remember those. And you can see my Widbook loading. This ebook, I believe, was around 100 pages, if I remember correctly. And it says done. There are the first 2 pages. I'm going to click to the table of contents or the summary, and this may look very, very boring, but this was more for me than it was for anybody. You'll see section 1 for my AM class, section 1 for my PM class, and then so on and so on and so on. And the PM class actually only went through section 6 because I have a fewer amount of students. So if I wanted to click on any one of these, I could go directly to them. And I want to take you to section 2, the AM class, because they were phenomenal. Again, it may not look like much, but there is, of course, text, and it looks maybe boring, and you're thinking, well, where's the amazing product at? But this is pretty amazing because it kind of bridges that gap from people who are my age and who love the feel and the smell of a book, to the digital immigrants, the digital natives that we teach today who are into that technology, but this steel kind of gives them that feel of the book. Not maybe the physical feel, but it is linear. We have page numbers, we have chapters. It's pretty cool. Now take a look at what these 4 students did and how they covered diction all the way through what should have been symbolism as I go to the other pages. And of course, as I read this, I see that they were spot on with their analysis of that particular section, which was section 2. I go to the next page, and as you can see, they have covered what I have asked them to cover, and then they end with the soundtrack, which they compared to Bad Romance by Lady Gaga. Now, I go to this page, there are the lyrics, and then here is the overall theme. They compared the overall theme and related it to a historical event about Adolf Hitler. And they wrote about that. As I go to the next page, they even have the link. Now, right now, Widbook does not allow these hyperlinks. You have to copy and paste, but that is no problem. I can easy copy and paste in the new tab, and I can take a look at the historical event they were referring to. Here is the symbolic picture. That is actually pretty cool because they were up on a hill with the sunlight coming down through. There is symbolism in the axe, in the red color, and of course in the thumbprint. Now I just wanted to play you a minute of this video that they reenacted to show you how this is a cool interactive textbook that totally hits the standards that I asked for. Now, if you know the Devil and Tom Walker from Washington Irving and you know this section, you know that they were spot on. So very, very good acting, very symbolic, and these students definitely know the section that was assigned to them. Very, very creative. And as I move on through, I was going to look at some other things I wanted to stop at. Oh yes, let me go back to green screen here. One second, I think I can actually go down here. Widbook is pretty cool by allowing you to scroll on through, and I believe it's this page, yes. This team used a green screen effect, and just show you very quickly what they did. And many of you may be thinking, well, that's no big deal or whatever, but this team got excited about what they were doing. They got excited about their assigned section, and they wanted to do a green screen mashup. And of course, this kind of took it to the next level. This was student engagement. This was very, very interesting for them, and so they went above and beyond. And anytime you see excitement from a student over some assigned topic or some assigned literature, something's got to be right. Let me take you now to page, I want to say it's 82, somewhere around there. Let's see. All right. And again, you see the text, you see the analysis, which was a Google Drive document. And to be honest with you, they share the Google Drive documents with me through a digital learning platform that we use called Brain Honey. And I simply save those Google Drive documents down as a Microsoft document, and then I uploaded them into Widbook, which I'll show you how to do in just a moment. But I'm stopping here at this section just to show you again that, let's say the students are studying this from anywhere. Maybe they're looking at their iPad or they're looking at their iPhone and they're studying this. They are going to see and be able to read the literary analysis. They can see what each team says about each section, and then they can take a look at this symbolic picture right here. This is the devil, this is the devil here coming to get Tom Walker at the end of the short story, and these are some people who have borrowed money, who are begging to have their payment extended or anything like that. And here, of course, is somebody looking out the window who is going to comment on the fact that the devil took off Tom Walker and his house and all his belongings burned to the ground. And then I go on to the next page and they reenact that entire scene right out behind our school, and they do a very, very good job of it. I won't spend any time showing you that, but I do believe I want to take you to the very last section. And let's see right here. You may be looking at this thinking, what is that? Obviously it looks like just construction or demolition, and it looks like damaged goods, looks like a broken down house, and that's exactly what it should look like. They are showing the symbolism of Tom Walker and how all that he owned was just gone once the devil took him away and once his soul was taken. And then in this next video here, they do an excellent job, and if you do take time to go take a look at this Widbook, watch this video here in section 10 at the very, very end, and you will see where they used little props and they basically made fire, they made all kinds of other things that they really couldn't actually do, but they used paper, they used whatever they could find to show their understanding of the ending of the short story thematically and maybe even symbolically. Now as you're looking and thinking about Widbook, I would really ask you to take a look at this and see how could you collaborate. How could you create some kind of a project for your students? Now again, I took these students' Google Drive documents that they submitted to me. I took their videos either via WeVideo, or I took their videos that they already put on YouTube. But of course, I took most of them from their jump drives that they gave me. The ones who already had their own YouTube channels or maybe were using WeVideo in Google Drive, that was very simple. They just shared the link with me. The others, I just took the file off of their jump drive and I loaded it up to our YouTube channel because I wanted a little more control with that. Now I know there is a section or a very good asset to Widbook that I'm not going to discuss much, and that is of course sharing your digital ebook with other people, inviting them to collaborate. Again, that was something I didn't want to do. I didn't want to hand out a bunch of invitations to I think it was 63 students who did this project. I just thought that would be a little bit too cumbersome. I thought some might delete other sections, and again, this was my first project with Widbook, so I just wanted to have a little more control of that, and I had everything come to me, and I just went ahead and put this Widbook together. And I'll be honest with you, it took me maybe an hour to upload all of these documents and organize these sections and then put the YouTube link to the videos in there. It really was not any trouble whatsoever, and it was a lot of fun, to be honest with you. So that is the example of our project that we did. I want to kind of go out here. Bear with me just a second. And then let me go back to this PowerPoint here and see where I'm at. Next section is I want us to think about some ideas. How could we use Widbook educationally? And the first thing I have here is a professional blog. I think one of the best things I've ever done is started blogging and started sharing my ideas and my concerns about education, and it's really opened me up to a professional learning network out there. I don't know where I would be without them. Now as I go here, I'm going to try to take you to just an example that I did. I actually did this example as I was trying to learn Widbook. So here it loads, and it should be here, this ugly bald-headed guy, which is me. And let me open this book up. You'll see the same thing. You'll see the book load. Hopefully go up to a table of contents in just a minute. There's the front page, and then here is the table of contents. I just did a few of my blog posts, and it is really nothing groundbreaking, but what a way to share. Now I can't wait for Widbook to actually make these links work, because what I would actually need to do is use a URL and copy and paste, but I know that's probably something they're looking at, and I can't wait until they do that. Let me go on through here and show you, because this is mainly text. Matter of fact, I'll go back to table of contents and I'll jump to a section I want to show you. I think this is pretty powerful. This link here, we were trying to introduce our Epic Academy at East Hall High School, and we wanted to show people exactly what we do and what our intentions are. Here is the blog post. Here is a video that is really cool that takes you through what we actually do. We did a wax museum and showed the world, basically, or whoever wanted to watch, exactly what we do at each section in our Epic Academy. We have 7 different sections, so if you ever get time, take a look at that. But what a cool, creative way to share your blog post. Here's another video, and then we went through and actually showed the pictures of each section so that people can go through the ebook and see what kind of technology we have, what kind of creativity we're looking to do, and just what a cool way to share. So if you're already blogging, you already have your blog spot, or maybe you're blogging for a website, you can easily just copy that, save it down to a Word document, and then upload it in just a matter of minutes. And then of course put your pictures and maybe even link to a video, and then you can tell people, hey, here's the link to my Widbook ebook, and go to pages 26 and 27 and you'll see what I'm talking about. So that's again one of the things that I really like about Widbook, is the fact that it feels more like a book. I have chapters, I have pages, and I just think it's a really cool thing. I'm going to close out. And we'll see what else I was wanting to talk about here. Teacher's textbook. Now this is a cool thing. I want to just mention, think about this. Think about how many teachers you collaborate with. How about this? Let's pretend that I have 2 American Lit teachers who are like, hey, I'm going to do this section, you do this section, we'll bring it together for Unit 1. I can invite them to share my Widbook that I have created, and I can invite them to co-write that and collaborate with me, and then we could actually be creating our teacher's textbook as we go along. Now, I'm sure you've had many lessons before where you get a lesson ready and then you deliver it to the students, and maybe something doesn't work out. Well, you know, that textbook or that page in the book is kind of not working anymore. Those questions aren't working, or that assignment from the textbook isn't working. Well, this textbook in Widbook could be fluid. It could be ever-changing, ever-evolving. And so when that lesson plan doesn't work, you just go in, you change some things, and then the next time it comes around, it is ready, or it's ready for that other teacher who is sharing your textbook. So you could really build your textbook. And remember, you can put pictures in and you can put in videos. And of course, I'm really hoping, as I'm going to talk about in just a little bit, that Widbook looks at advancing forward with a lot of other things that will really, really open them up to the EdChat world. And the next one here is individual collaborative projects. And one thing I did not do was I did not talk enough about how these students could use the social side, the social media side of Widbook to invite others to collaborate. So if you were to simply open this up to students and say, hey, where could you take this? I'm sure that they could think of all these different projects that they could collaborate on. You can take anything that you're learning, whether it's history or math or language arts, and you can look at what do you want to write about that, what do you want to show mastery of, and then how would you write about it, how would you put pictures in, what kind of videos would you do. I could even think if I'm doing a lesson in an automotives class and I want to talk about how to fix a particular carburetor, I could have students do a video tutorial of that, show step-by-step pictures, and then of course they could write exactly how that process goes. And that could be chapter 1, fixing a particular carburetor. How cool would that be? D here says students' portfolios and class submissions. Now here's a pretty cool idea, I think. How about have students write their own books, their own portfolios? So they could even start it, say, as a freshman in high school, 6th grader in middle school, whatever it may be, but they can continue doing that all through their middle school or high school years, and they could add chapters, so-called, of their lives as they go through. Now, they could have certain chapters for certain classes, they could have certain chapters for particular time periods of their lives, but what they could do is they could share that link with a teacher, and that teacher could go access everything that they needed to turn in, whether it's an essay or just show some kind of knowledge of anything. Now, for example, let me take you real quickly here and show you this. Here's another way we could use this. Let me see, it should be, I think it's right here. Okay, now I honestly did this, and you may not believe me, but this is nothing spectacular, but it was done in under 10 minutes total. Let me click on this. I call it Angles Everywhere. No, it is not a typo. It's not Angels Everywhere. It's Angles Everywhere, an example of homework on the go. Let me see if I can get this to pull up. Here it comes. So I was just thinking, what if I'm a math student? What if I'm maybe tired of that worksheet? I'm tired of that assigned 20 questions at night. But maybe it's a Saturday or a Sunday, and I'm thinking about, oh, I understand what that teacher was talking about in class now, and here's where I see it out in the real world, and here's how I can apply it. So I quickly wanted to see how I could show my knowledge in an actual Widbook. So I click on Chapter 1, Geometry. You'll have to bear with me, I was just practicing. I said I completed my geometry homework from Chapter 3. Here is a picture of my work. And then I simply took a picture of a dry erase board in my room. Yes, it says simply take a picture of your completed assignment, but imagine if that is a problem I have worked out or some kind of a drawing. I know Evernote is taking pictures, and Evernote's allowing users to upload documents and pictures and all kinds of other things. Well, there's nothing spectacular here. I mean, you just do the same thing. Take a picture with your smartphone. I emailed it to myself in a matter of maybe 20 seconds, and I simply went online, grabbed that picture, threw it into the Widbook. Very, very simple. I did a little bit of typing right here. I even gave the link to my video, just because there are no hyperlinks yet in Widbook. And then right here, I know you may not be able to hear this, but I just show myself walking. I show myself walking outside, thinking about exactly what I want to talk about with geometry angles. And I don't want to bore you, and I'm not quite sure that you can even hear the video totally since I'm using Screencast-O-Matic to record this right now. But I go through in that video and I simply walk outside and I look for angles, right angles, obtuse angles, acute angles as I'm walking around our campus. And I'm just saying how you can use the power of YouTube and your smartphone to quickly record yourself, throw it up to YouTube, which actually took me a matter of just a few minutes to upload that, and then grab that link and put it into Widbook. So no longer do you have to worry about the spreadsheet, or I'm sorry, the worksheet, or do you have to send the textbook home. You can simply say, hey, I want you to look for this, and here's how you can show me mastery of this. You give the kids options, especially if it's involving that smartphone. That's going to be something that really, really engages them. So I think the sky's the limit as far as portfolios go, student submissions. I'm going to go as far as even say this. You could use those student portfolios as almost your digital learning platform. No, you're not going to be able to have a grade book with Widbook, but you can have their submissions, and as you can see, just with simple video and pictures, you can really get creative in what you do. All right, let's take a look at a real-time example. Let's look at creating a quick lesson plan as a part of the teacher's textbook in real time in Widbook. So remember, just a second ago I was talking about a teacher's textbook as one of our ideas. Let's just go do that. So let's go to Widbook, and I'm going to start a new book. Now when you start a new book, it'll give you an option that comes up. You can start writing, which means type it in as you go, or you can import a chapter. Now this is a cool thing about Widbook. As you can see, DLC, DOCX, and a text file or Evernote. I'm hoping in the future they'll also do PDF files, but right now I'm going to a Microsoft document, and let me choose that file. Here it is. Now watch how quickly this happens. I'm going to import and edit, and it looks like it's already there. I can go back and change this. It by default gave me chapter 1, but this is the document that I just uploaded. I'll go ahead and get rid of chapter 1. There we go. Now click on original poem and song project. And I just wanted to quickly let you know about this. I'm sure you're not going to read this and I don't want to bore you, but I wanted to tell you that our students had an assigned list of poetry terms, and those poetry terms can be found right here at this shortened link. And they were to draw a letter A, B, or C, and when they did, they got a certain list of poetry terms that they had to use while creating their own original song / poem. They could do a parody, they could have some fun with it, or they could just write a simple poem. Now, after they wrote that poem, they were to record it using the SoundCloud app. After they recorded it using the SoundCloud app, they were supposed to grab the link from SoundCloud's website and make a QR code out of that. So if you'll just give me a second here, I'm going to go to the next page and I'm going to insert a picture. So let's say this is my lesson plan. I just uploaded the entire assignment and gave them all the links that they need. Now I want to show them of an example of where we're headed. So here's a picture I want to upload. And let me explain this real quickly here. This is an example of what they are to post on the wall. It has a QR code. That QR code can be scanned, and then you can go to the SoundCloud website and hear the songs that the students have recorded. The most important part is this. And I know it's small text, but if you would just understand that this is a parody that these two students did called The Fresh Prince of Nowhere. And you can see right here they have all of their poetry terms labeled out to the side and pointing to where they were used, because that's ultimately how they get their score. They earn credit by showing me that these poetry terms are used correctly. Now imagine this. When we're all done with this entire project, I will have about anywhere from 40 to 50 songs and QR codes and typed poems or songs on the wall. On the day that we're finally posting these on the wall, I ask the students to make sure they bring headphones, because I can promise you they're going to have their smartphones, and then they will already have on their smartphones an app that helps them scan QR codes. So they will do what we call a gallery walk, and they will walk around, scan these QR codes, listen to their own classmates and peers as they recorded a song and has it saved on the SoundCloud website, and then they will read and give criticism on this particular poem or song. I could even sometimes have them use a Google Drive form and submit data that way, where they assess and grade their own peers. But for the sake of this right here, I was just going to put this in to my Widbook to show you how quickly that uploaded, and to show you that now the students, if this were my textbook, the students would have the assignments, they would have the links that they need, if they needed to copy and paste those, and then they will have a representation of what this looks like. Now another cool thing is this. Let's say, oh, I got an example of what some students did. So I can insert a video, and let me grab that link that I already have ready to go. I have this already typed out. Let me go back, and here I want to add that video. Now I could have put the picture over here and the video over here and switched it. I should have actually inserted my video over here, but nonetheless you get the idea. This was a team that took a song that was on the pop charts here recently, and they changed it to Talk Nerdy, and they were talking about, of course, talking nerdy with Spanish and math words and language arts words, and then they used their poetry terms in their parody. And of course they had a QR code, and they had the typed out poem that they put on the wall. So again, here's just an example of creating my own textbook. Now imagine, just like in the old days, say 20 years ago, everybody, you should do chapter 2 and pages 25 through 28 tonight and answer all 10 questions. You could do pretty much the same thing, but this textbook again is fluid, it's ever changing, it's ever evolving, and I can just add to it as I want. So I could actually say, hey, tonight you all should read the original poem and song project assignment, and it's going to be pages 4 through 7, and I have an example and I have a picture of what you are to do. Hey, the assignment is due whenever. Now how cool is that? And just add in 2, 3, 4, 5 other teachers who are very passionate about what they do, who will take on certain sections. They do their sections, you do your sections, and before you know it, you look up and you have a full textbook for a particular course. So, pretty cool idea, I think. And if you'll just let me wrap this up here, I'm going to be done with this. And I want to finish with this. Again, I wanted to talk about number 5, my lack of expertise. I realize there are many other aspects to Widbook that I need to explore. Again, the one that I want to take a look at is the social side of that, and I also want to experiment with maybe having some more individualized projects for my students where they invite other people to collaborate with them through Widbook, and to where it totally takes me out as the teacher. To reiterate again, I just wanted to have a little more control my first time with that project that we tried. Now, I'm looking for Widbook to make some improvements and wishes. I think as a one-year startup company or website, I think they have some awesome potential, and I'm very excited about what we could actually do with Widbook as far as projects or teacher textbooks or submissions for students. Whatever it may be, the sky's the limit. But I do want to see hyperlinks added. I do want to see more embeddable EdTech content. For example, how about SoundCloud? How cool would it be to click on a link and immediately it goes to SoundCloud, or have a SoundCloud file embeddable within the ebook? Or how about VoiceThread? VoiceThread is a powerful website where you could actually just have people leave their voice comments or their video comments. That would be so cool to turn to chapter 2 and I see a voice thread from 50 other people commenting on that particular section. That would be awesome. I'm thinking of a Voki where I can create an avatar and put it inside Widbook. So as Widbook opens up and establishes some of these improvements here, I think they're going to really just kind of take the educational world by storm and make it to where anybody and everybody can create their own type of textbooks or portfolios that are totally interactive. One other thing I might think of as a literature teacher, let's say I'm reading To Kill a Mockingbird and I have my students create their own Twitter accounts based on characters in To Kill a Mockingbird, and as we're reading certain chapters, I have them tweet based on those characters they have created and the profiles. So could you imagine Boo Radley tweeting, or Atticus Finch tweeting, or whoever that may be, if they are tweeting according to that character in that book, then you know that student's engaged, you know that student's having to actually dig up the literature, peel back the words to see the essence of that character and to see the essence of that novel. So how cool would that be to be able to embed tweets when you flip into a Widbook or an ebook and you see a certain section where there's a creative project and you're embedding tweets that tell a story. So we've got to kind of throw out the idea of books just being linear and just being text. It can be so much more. And with these improvements, I think we can see those ebooks just take off. And then finally, I'd like to see some mobile app improvements, and I would like to see the videos immediately playable within the Widbook app for the iPad and the iPhone, and maybe even Android devices. But I know as a one-year startup company, a young company, I know they'll be looking at making many, many improvements and listening to many educators and to all the possibilities. So please, if you have any questions or suggestions, I would love to hear about it. Again, don't forget to go to or tweet me at John Hardison1, and then also you can tweet at Widbook Official. And that would be a great thing to do. And I hope this has been informative. Please let me know if there's anything I can do to help. I appreciate it, and good luck in the classroom. Create some awesomeness.